My name is Natorp, and I want to start just by thanking René for inviting me to talk to you this morning and share some thoughts and some experiences. And I was really looking forward actually to being here at the Chaos Pilots, and I was envisioning that we were standing on the 6th floor, which is a beautiful space. This is also really nice, but what is particularly beautiful about it is that we can see the city of Aarhus, and I'm very fond of Aarhus, and I from up there can sort of see where I live and where I work and where I used to work, and I believe it's also something that we share, that we sort of at least spend time in Aarhus, and it's also an important part of the story that I'm going to share with you. I want to talk today about how the challenges we face as a society, how they are an opportunity to connect as citizens. And I would like to talk about that by telling you the story about an organization that I am part of and that I was part of creating about a year ago together with a handful of other people. It's called Samler, and that's sort of a very Danish title. In English, it's something like Courses That Connect. And in the beginning, we had all kinds of other words for what we wanted to create, but somehow this title just got stuck with us because it so clearly expresses the idea behind the whole project. This is where we do our work. It's, I don't know if you recognize the place, it's down in Pustervig Torv, and we have our offices up here on the 2nd floor in this building, a little bit of the 1st floor. This is how we work most of the time. What we do is that we bring people together around shared courses, challenges that people see, maybe also dreams that they have. So we connect people in the city, and we sort of become a home for a process where they work together and they start to act on it. And what you see here is what you will see often when you come to visit us, because there's like people talking, drawing, there's coffee, and there's a lot of ideas going through the room. This is what we create. So this is actually a celebration. The title up here says Social Sundhed in English. That's something like social health. And this is a celebration of, actually I think they founded an association where they celebrated here that is going to become probably a social enterprise. And what it is about is an idea that we can deal with some of the inequalities in the health system that really are a problem for some of the most social vulnerable people in the city, that they're not very good at using hospitals. So often they don't, and you can see in statistics that they die too young. And some of these people, they decided to work with that and created this idea about building like corps of voluntary students from the social educations that can work to build bridges between the social vulnerable people and the healthcare system, and between the healthcare system and the socially vulnerable people. So that's one of the initiatives that come out of our work. This is another one. It's called Hjerterum, or Heart Space. And it's a group of people. You can see the diversity here, at least in age. And they got together around this challenge that maybe some of you have faced during the last couple of years, about new students coming to the city that they don't have a place to live. And maybe people from the older generation actually have a lot of space, and maybe they even are lacking some companies, and maybe not even just people from the older generation, but people in general. So they're creating an initiative around that people open their homes to students that come to the city. based on a different idea of economy. So it's not just a new market for renting our rooms. It can be done in different ways. This is another initiative that come out of our work. It's called We Love Food, Vi elsker mad. And it was mainly created by these two girls, Ayla and Abby, but involved a lot of other people. And they're very sort of passionate about food, and especially not wasting food. So they worked on creating this initiative, which is like a positive certification of places in the city that have a really good policy around not wasting food. So this is a certification of reducing waste of food, improving social responsibility, and keeping the same quality. And I work together with a lot of places in the city to develop this sort of practice around how it can be done, and how they bring together these places to inspire each other. This is from the bakery down in Graven, number 24, and I think the neighbor is also part of it, Rodenfuss. And in total, right now, it's 7 places, but it will be growing. Another initiative just actually happened just down here, and it was about, you can see, this is some kids in a little boat and some divers, and there are also people rowing, and they cleaned up the harbor. And it was an initiative that came out of a lot of the sports clubs that are active around the Bay of Aarhus and in the harbor. They really wanted to strengthen their own community, because there's so much development happening and there's so much money involved. And for them, what is important is that this access to the water can be something that is of value to the citizens of Aarhus. So they said, okay, we need to strengthen our community between us. And a wonderful thing to do is to clean up the space that we love and inhabit, and use that as something that really strengthens that culture. So that is also developing further. The last initiative I want to mention, just as an example of our work, is the Multi-Ethnical Culture Center. That brings together a lot of people from different ethnicities. Their idea is to really create a space that sort of embraces the diversity of the city, and that brings together different cultures. And that's sort of a very beautiful and abstract idea that is difficult to put into practice. So together brought together people, and they developed some initiatives that could sort of be an experiment of how to build that kind of cultural center. And the first initiative that started happening was a series of events where you can learn to cook food here from the Congo. Monday, the 11th of October, will be food from Cuba. And then here it was a family from Congo that was hosting this event, and it brought together about 30 people from a lot of different nationalities. So these are examples of the kind of work that we do. And it's inhabited by a lot of people. A lot of people come and contribute to this, because it's not something that we are paid for. And I'm going to tell you more about that, how we actually got into that situation of creating all of that without actually getting paid. But a lot of people contribute, and it's we have sort of learned that the way this organization works is because it holds some important values around learning, around community, and around meaning. A lot of people we learned have this desire to somehow be participate in creating the society and developing it. They might not be too happy with how politics work, or might not really be so attracted to it. And we have now a team of about 5 interns that form an organization. We have a lot of people from different companies, from the municipality, from the regional public system, that come in as volunteers, and some of them sort of come in on a regular basis, spend part of their work time in our organizations. Others participate in these initiatives, kind of initiatives that I told you about. We have around 15 now in total. And the whole economy that sort of drives this organization runs by these values, sort of learning, its community, and its meaning. And community is very much sort of this desire to connect, to be part of a group that shares some values, and that acts together, that does something together, and that has a place to sort of bring in engagement and creativity. We learned a lot from, and now if we were on the 6th floor, we could have looked just over to this side and looked to Samsø. They've done amazing work in Samsø, and about a year ago we went to visit Søren Hermansen. He's the guy sitting here, and he's the leader of the Energy Academy in Samsø. And what they did in Samsø was that they sort of took on this challenge of becoming independent of traditional fuel sources on the island. And it's sort of going on in a lot of places that people are struggling to do this. And we are investing lots of money in technology that can help us make the transition. But as he told us, we're farmers and Samsø. This is not about new technology, it's about getting together, drinking a cup of coffee and finding out what can we do. So it's basically a social transformation of the way they work together, how they organize their economy in Samsø that has helped them achieve that goal. So we learned from people in Samsø that this kind of social innovation that we strive for can be achieved if we work in an economy of the commons. In Danish, the commons, we call it en fælde. It's like commons is the idea that you have this kind of common area. You used to have it in small villages in old time. You put your farmers send their cows there. It's like a shared land that you own. And if every farmer sort of sends too many cows out there, the grass will die and everyone will suffer. But if we take care of it, it's like it's a shared resource we have. And that kind of resource is governed by different laws than sort of a traditional market. It's more governed by the laws of a community, which means that it works when everybody gets something out of it. But it starts that you, with giving, that you give something. That's how this economy starts working. And we learned that from the people in Samsø, and we sort of really figured out how can we apply that to what we wanted to do. Because when we started out this journey in creating courses that connect us at Samler, we were these 5 individuals. This is Morten. He has worked for more than 20 years in HR, being the HR leader in different companies in ISS and in BDO. This is Brett. He's a designer. He's doing a PhD in strategic design. This is Karen. She's a psychologist. She's been working for many years in the hospital. She's in December now defending a PhD on how to lead innovation in the public sector. This is me. I'm sort of been in many different trades. I sort of make a living by being an organizational consultant working with innovation. This is Kristin. She's a chaos pilot and an artist that works with companies to bring out more creativity. And what we learned was that in our work, sort of when we hired, for instance, by a hospital, to help that hospital work in a way that puts the patient more in the center and deals more efficiently with health, what happens is that we create programs that include only the employees of that hospital. So the basic idea behind it is that the hospital owns the problem of health. But we know it's not true. It's like that problem belongs to all of us, even though we give some money to the hospital to solve it. When it comes to unemployment, we sort of believe that's the problem of the municipality. We go down to job service and say, solve my problem. And you get all these resources to solve it, but it's not only the problem of the municipality, it's of all of us. So our frustration was that every time people got together to want to solve a problem, they sort of excluded most of the other people that were also part of it. And obviously it's difficult to really create new solutions if you exclude most of the people that should be part of it. Another thing was that people were so busy with work that they didn't really have time to sort of create the innovation that would solve these problems. So that was really what led us to wanting to create this place. And first we had this great idea of that professionals and consultants have. Let's create a program. So instead of working theoretically with education about maybe cases, let's put a real problem in the center and get in all these people from different professions, from different organizations, and they can work on it and solve it and learn a lot. And that's a great business. Only we found out that's not so easy. How do you invite to such a thing? How do you really invite to sort of a piece of work where people are really engaged and want to work together and solving something? It's something you just set up as a course or as a module. So we found out we had to really go out and create that place that would bring people together. And we couldn't sort of just invite, like say, okay, Claudia, you should be part of it. I could ask you, but you might not be interested. But then instead, Kristin might show up. So Kristin would be the person we would work with. We couldn't sort of design who should be part of that. And we could definitely not design it based on what titles people had. So thinking of this inspiration of Samsø, of the commons, we just started sort of inviting our network and asking them, so what would you engage yourself in if you could? And it started creating these courses. And we kept on saying we're not consultants. You know, we bring people together to work on something and we're not consultants. And the more we said it, the more we felt that we are consultants now. It's like it's exactly what we do. And at some point, Karen said, when we were sitting down and writing our bylaws for the association that we created to host this, she said, but what if we're citizens? What if it's something we just do as citizens because we sort of care about our society? And it created a totally new perspective that was really scary and very powerful. Because what we discovered was, as citizens, what we automatically get is that we get this place where we're all on eye level. No one above, no one below. That's one of the great privileges we have in this society. Another thing that we get is we get this clear idea and knowledge about that we are in this together, this interdependency that lies in the citizenship. The third thing we get is just this very clear notion that we can't work with abstract theories and concepts about economy or whatever. We need to make things concrete. That's where citizens can participate, something we can actually do something with. So it gave us a wonderful idea of a place that we could really connect people to. The scary part was that we as consultants had to sort of let go of our profession and really step into it, show up and sort of have an agenda. And also that we had to let go of all the ideas of how we can make this economically viable, all the business models. We just left them over there with our consultant title. But what we did was that we held on to the professionalism and just started inviting people and said, okay, don't worry about the economy now. This is just something we do. Let's see where it takes us. And what happened was that then people started to show up. And we learned something about our own professional tools when it comes to connect people, because our most important process tool now is the coffee. Like we could sort of write, really great proposals about innovation tools and about change processes, and now we just say, okay, the most important process tool is the coffee, because we need to get together and talk with our neighbors, with people that this concerns, and find out what can we do together and build the trust. We also learned that if we talk about change and innovation, it's basically about values. So it's not just a technique, and it's not just something that's about the new, it's about finding out what matters to us. And the only thing we can really step into that space is also by acting. So it's also about actions. And the third thing we learned that is really important is that we can't make innovation or change for people. We can only do it with people. So in the beginning, we might sit around a table and wanted to do something, and we would talk, we need the boss of this company, or we need to have this person here because otherwise we can't. And we changed the focus completely because we just started to working with the people that are actually here. Or we might say, we want to do something for the socially vulnerable people. And then at some point, somebody would ask, and who here is socially vulnerable? Or we want to do something with the lonely. And then, who's actually lonely here? No one. Okay. And we leave it. It's like finding that access to work with change is really by connecting to it through the people that are present. That's something we learned. And I think that's really where I want also to leave this presentation now. And my hope with this talk was to inspire you through the journey that we have been on, because it has fundamentally changed our perspective about how we connect and how we, through that connection, can work with change. So thank you very much for your attention.
think we have 5 minutes for questions.
Yep.
I don't know if you would be hanging around afterwards.
Yes, until 9, I guess.
Cool.
Yep.
So 5 minutes for questions, and if you didn't get to ask a question, then you can grab them afterwards.
Yeah. Could I have a glass of water? Got really dry in my throat. Sorry.
So, any questions?
Thank you.
So let me start out. So let's say you're on maternal leave and you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
You'd like to find some courses to maybe, help the citizens of Aarhus or
Yeah.
just engage in the city.
Hmm.
Can they come to you? How do they do that?
Yes, they can come to us. Usually, what we do is we practice how to be open and embrace people also, and that's sometimes a challenge because we don't have we're busy because there's a lot of stuff happening, and we even have to make a living while we do this. But what we have sort of a tradition of open lunches that you can come and you can have lunch with whoever is there, and usually it's some really exciting meetings because different people drop in over lunch. And obviously we can't host 20 people for lunch, but usually maybe 1 or 2 or 3 come, and it's really nice way to connect and to talk. Or you can, on our website, we have now better and better information about the initiatives, and they're all open. They're not sort of owned by a closed project group. We spend a lot of time in making our work transparent, and it's because we really want people to participate. So that's also a possibility. Just join one of the initiatives when they meet. Like for instance, this social health initiative. They now meet regularly, every second Thursday, and they're now preparing a pilot project, which is actually in a couple of months is going to happen in the streets of Aarhus. So, and I think it's a very good example because we see a lot of people that suddenly have some time. And it could be between jobs. It could be that suddenly, okay, I'm just looking for new inspiration. It could be that maternity leave, maybe I got fired from my job because of stress. And I don't really know what to do in my life now. So we have so many examples of people that somehow have a surplus, even though, like from the outside, it might seem that they represent the opposite, but they actually have a surplus. And they want to be part of a community, they want to participate, they want to learn, they want to somehow create something, and that's a good place. Other questions? I have a question to you. It seems that most of you are from sort of the younger generation. How many of you are students? Wow, that's all of you, almost. Yeah. And where do you study?
We study at the Aarhus Business School.
Yeah. What about?
Political science.
Political science? Yeah.
I study biology.
Biology. So a lot of different disciplines. One of the things that we really try to do here is we believe that that sort of working with change and working with really sort of bringing people together around these very specific issues and making them concrete is a fantastic place to learn. It really is, because in a lot of places we talk about this multidisciplinarity, and we have worked in education a lot, and we see all these cases, sort of people try to sort of invent a scenario where that is really needed, and then bring students together on working on it, maybe. But what's happening here is really that these things, they just come alive suddenly. So you might even have the politician, and you have sort of the people that runs the health department, and you have sort of the nurse working in it, and they're sort of eager and doing something. And it's a perfect place to sort of create these alive laboratories in the city that both builds a network, and you get your hands dirty on stuff, and you really get to sort of practice your skills. Also a thing that I didn't mention, and because we really want to sort of build this opportunity, is that we have created a network of mentors, which are people that volunteer with a lot of experience. and that go in and sort of support some of the people working on the initiatives. So if you're curious about maybe contributing to also a new learning environment, I would really ask you to come and just talk to us and maybe give us some inspiration or ask some questions, because it's a very high ambition we have. So you're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.